Hurry! Our last-minute gift sale at Lord & Taylor is going on now. Sweaters for her and him starting at $30. Up to 70% off fine jewelry. 50% off women's gloves, scarves, and more. Buy one, get one free on Holiday Gourmet. Stocking stuffers under $50. Plus more amazing presents. You can even buy online and pick up in store. It's all part of the last-minute gift sale now through December 24th at Lord & Taylor, the best priced secret.
You ready to unapologetically unleash your bold and define your life, money, and business? Define You radio class is in session with host the Southern Belle of Bold, Valencia Griffin-Wallace, brings you the stories behind the glory. Hear from women and men who decided that life didn't define them. They were going to define themselves. Pen and papers ready. Class is now in session.
Yes, welcome. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Define You Radio. Class is in session, where you get the tips, strategies, and the life lessons from guests who have defined their life, relationships, money, and business. Today, we are discussing dating on purpose while living your purpose with our fabulous guest, Miss Contessa Louise Cooper, and I will bring her in shortly. I am your host, the Southern Belle of Bold, Valencia Griffin-Wallace, and if this is your first time tuning in, thank you for letting us define your Tuesdays. Make sure you follow and connect with the show on Blog Talk Radio. Don't forget, if you have any questions or comments, if you want to get on the radio with me and Miss Contessa tonight, just press 1 on your phone. And if you're listening online, make sure you're with us on our Facebook page to find you to leave your questions and comments. Now, since February is the month of love, right? It's love, self-love, everything is all about love. Now, if you guys have joined us the first 2 Tuesdays of this month, we talked about love and business and relationships with married couples. Today, our guest is going to talk about love, business, and purpose and everything in that way from another perspective. A little bit about our guest. Contessa Louise Cooper's rise to influence is brave and inspiring. 2 years ago, she was a consumer, reader, and audience participant, just like most of us. Her random attendance at a book writing event changed her life forever. She never figured herself to be an author. Being selected at the event, she had just 3 days to turn her chronicles into a book. Most would have cringed at the challenge of writing a book in 3 days. I mean, that's not a lot of time. She embraced the test as an opportunity to change her life. The result? A bestseller. Recently, she appeared on an episode of TDJ's television show on Oprah Winfrey Network, where she discussed digital infidelity and online flirting. She's also involved with 2 awesome literary projects, Cuffing Season and After Dark. She advocates for women to become authorpreneurs, and you guys know I have a problem with anything that ends with preneurs. I'm working on it in 2017. She mentors women to transition their writing into a business. She's gaining popularity and more awesomeness. As a freelance writer, a coach, and a speaker, she discusses women issues in an uncut format in her Facebook group. She's a mother of 2 adult children, including a son with autism. With that being said, I want you guys to think about this question as we go into tonight's show. Do you think it's harder to find a mate when you're living on purpose? Let's welcome Ms. Contessa to the show. Contessa, are you with us?
Hey, yes, I am. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on your wonderful show. And I loved your intro, by the way. I'm over here on the phone and I'm dancing. I'm like, yeah. So I got to make sure I listen to that again.
I know. Well, number one, thank you so much, and welcome to the Define You Radio family. That's number 1, 2, and 3. And, yes, the 2017 intro, sometimes I forget that it's an intro, and that means the show is about to start. But I wanted something that'll, like, hype you up and get you in the mood. Because when you think about classes in session, most of us have had boring classes. Well, this is a different type of class. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So how are you doing today?
I am doing great. I'm super excited. I told all my friends, oh, my gosh, I'm going to be on the radio show. You guys have to listen because we're going to be talking about some amazing things. And it's so funny when you ask me to be a part of this show because we get this question all the time, like, and you hear it like it's so hard to find a good mate when you are walking in your purpose, when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, when you're knocking out these goals and you're showing up and people know who you are. Is it really more difficult? And some people say yes, and some people say no. Now, I have my own opinions, but I'll wait till a little later. I'll wait for you to ask that question before I say something.
No, but I love that you jump right in because I know in my particular situation, it was like I found my mate and then my purpose kind of changed in time. So I only if being a public personality, so to speak, that you kind of, do you like me, or you like me because I'm kind of famous, or, like I could only imagine. So I can't wait to hear your take on that. So we're talking about dating on purpose, but we're talking about while living your purpose. So when did you first discover your purpose? Was it at that event and you was like, oh, I could write and I could write good and quick?
It wasn't then. I actually got a hint of my purpose many, many, many years back, but I did not know how it was going to happen. And I was sitting at home and my son was playing on the floor, and all of a sudden it was like everything just stopped. And I got this vision. And in this vision, there was a crowd of people before me, and I can hear everyone clapping their hands. And the next thing I know, someone called me to the stage, and I'm slowly walking to the middle of the stage with a microphone in my hand. Now, I don't know what I was talking about at that moment, but I can see rows and rows and rows of people all there listening to me. And at that moment, I knew that was exactly where my life was going to take me. Now, I didn't know when because I was a single parent. I was basically living in poverty. I did not know where I was going with my life, but I knew that one day I was going to get there.
Wow. That's powerful. And I think a lot of times when our purpose catches us off guard and it doesn't come exactly, we think we're not prepared or we think we're not in an ideal situation, but, your purpose kind of doesn't have a timing on it. It's not going to say, hey, a year from now, you're going to know what your purpose is.
That is so true. And it's funny because sometimes when you get a hint of your purpose, you try to make it happen. And you try to put yourself in a situation so it does happen. And you end up failing over and over again. And so deep down inside you think, well, maybe I heard wrong. Maybe I saw wrong. Maybe that purpose was for someone else because I don't see it happening. But that's not how purpose works. You can't make purpose happen. You just got to be ready and prepare for when your purpose meets you. There is some work that you need to do in order for your purpose to happen, in order for it to manifest in your life. Back then, I wasn't ready. I wasn't anywhere near ready. But as those years went by, I was being prepped and primed for exactly where I am right now.
I love that. I loved prepped and primed for purpose.
Yes, ma'am.
I love
ma'am.
that. I love that.
And sometimes
now,
that's ugly. As you're being prepped and primed, sometimes it's real ugly. Because if you ever notice, people who are doing great things have ugly stories. They have ugly challenges that has happened in their life. So you got to go through the ugly in order to get to your purpose sometimes.
That seems like all the time. Everyone that I know, and it sounds so cliche to say, you have to break down to get to your breakthrough, and I've said it. It sounds so cliche, or don't break down on the way to your breakthrough, and all of those things. It sounds really cliche, but it's the truth. Had those ugly stories, and it has like a beautiful ending, and it sounds really cliche, but I've heard some ugly stories. I'm like, wow, really? And you still living?
You still made it through, but it's those ugly stories that inspire other people into action. And that's what your purpose does. It inspires other people to do something. Our job is to help people get unstuck in whatever area of the life that they're in. That's what our stories are for. That's what our situations are for. That's what you do when you encourage someone to do something. You reach down and say, I've done it, and so can you.
Wow. So, do you think that when it came time for that challenge to write something in 3 days, what where did you pull from? What inspired you to write to where you could basically bang out a book or, get a book done in 3 days?
I honestly believe that there are opportunities in your life that are designed to propel you to your future. And there are certain, you get opportunities all the time, but these are special opportunities that come around every once in a while. And when these opportunities come because you can hear, whether or not, I don't know what you believe in, whether or not it's Spirit, Holy Spirit, God, whatever it is you believe in, you can hear it inside. It's like, this is your moment. Are you going to take it or not? And I had to make a decision right then and there. What am I willing to sacrifice to make this happen? Because you just can't write, a book in 3 days and keep doing what you're doing. You got to sacrifice something in order to make this happen. So I locked myself away for 3 days to make this happen.
Wow.
I had to give up everything for 3 days to make this happen. And so there's some people out there right now who have opportunities right in front of you. What are you willing to sacrifice to change your life?
You'd drop 2-3 mics. What are you willing to sacrifice to change your life? So I want you guys to think about that. No,
yes.
Go ahead.
Every day we sit here and we pray for a miracle. We pray for something to happen. And these opportunities come, but we don't want to do it because they look like work. And in order for you to get to where it is you need to be, there's going to have to be some work done.
I hear the song in my head.
Yeah. I had to do some work.
That's a huge. Some people have a hard time sacrificing 5 minutes a day or 30 minutes or an hour. You sacrificed locked yourself away for 3 days. That's commitment.
Yes, I did. And this is the thing that a lot of people don't know. So there are some things that happened in my life right up until then. I was basically homeless. I had lost my home. I had lost everything I owned. And so I was living with relatives. And so I had the opportunity. I didn't have a job that I had to go to. I didn't have a home that I had to pay for. There was no place I needed to be. So I was set up and was ready to take those 3 days just to write. So those things that were meant to destroy me actually was a bonus and a plus for what it was I needed to do.
Love that. I love that, and it's things that I'm learning. Even though we've been, connected for a while, it's things that I'm learning that just make me just respect you so much more. Like when you hear, and that's the whole purpose of this show. A lot of times we see the pretty. We see the everyday. Like, okay, I've pretty much gotten over the ugly, so people will see the pretty, the cute, the dressed up parts without really hearing that backstory. So thank you so much for sharing that backstory, because I know a lot of people, while we're discussing the second half of the show titled Living Your Purpose, a lot of people are still struggling with that, but you committed and succeeded in every, you had every excuse, quote unquote, that someone could use to not do it, and you did it. Exactly. And that's a powerful testimony of who you are and that determination. Now let me ask you this, and then we'll get to the dating part of the show. Do you think you do, if that situation happened today, you're in a different place now, but if that opportunity came again where you had to have the same amount of commitment you had then, do you think you still could pull it off in 3 days? Absolutely. With how your life is now? Yes.
Absolutely. I would have to do a little bit of rearranging, but the great thing about what I do is that I control my calendar. I control my time. So if I needed to take 3 days, I could, and, you mentioned that I was on TD Jakes. My opportunity for that came, again, I was in a situation where, life wasn't going the way I wanted to, and I cried out and I said I needed my life to change and I needed an opportunity. And that opportunity came, and I had to leave the next day.
Wow.
There was no thinking, let me get back to you. I'm not quite sure if I could fly out to California. They were like, we need to fly you out tomorrow. Are you down or not? And we had to make that decision. Are you down or not? Can you go? Can you make this work? If not, we're going to move on to somebody else.
Wow.
And again, I'm in a situation where I can shut down for 2 days and fly out to California and come back. Not everyone can do that because they have all these other things that are pulling at their time and energy. I don't have that. I was set up for this in advance.
Now let me add this or ask this. When you got the phone call, because I'm sure it was like a number you didn't know or something of that nature, did you answer the phone, or was it like a voicemail? Did you just something said, Contessa, you better answer this call? Like, that's like a life-changing moment. Did you answer the phone?
I answered the phone, but I didn't know who it was. Matter of fact, when I answered the pitch, I didn't even know it was for TD Jakes. I had no idea who it was for. So when this strange phone number came across my phone, and I was like, I don't know who this is, and I don't answer phone numbers that I don't know, but I answered that one.
Wow.
And when she told me who she was an executive producer for TD Jakes. I was like, what? Say that again? And the call happened probably 2 hours after I had answered the pitch. So I wasn't even expecting someone to call me or even email me that soon.
Wow.
And so
I hope you guys are
speaking to them about my story. And so you got to be ready. When you ask for when you're praying, when you're pleading, when you're expecting your life to change, you got to be ready.
Y'all hear that? Class is in session. I hope you wrote that down, because a lot of times we don't answer unknown numbers, and it could be a life-changing opportunity, such as being on the TD Jakes show. So I know from now on, I'll be answering those numbers I don't know.
Answer the call.
Answer the call. So when you did the show, were you, because how long ago did you do the TD Jakes taping?
The show was taped in October of 2016, so it's been about 6 months.
Were you in a relationship then?
I had just gotten out of a relationship. And, if you watch the clip, and it's funny because I sit back and I watch it and I'm like, wow, look at you back then. There was a lot of stuff going on. There was a lot of hurt. There was a lot of pain going on back then compared to where I am now. So I just gotten out of a really difficult relationship that I probably should not have been in. I will say that. And almost pulled me away from my purpose. And it took me a minute to get back.
Understood.
Mm-hmm.
What? And I've watched the clip. And guys, if you're connected with the show or Contessa on Facebook, the clip is posted on Define You Radio's Facebook page. Now, how has the feedback been with the clip? Because you were honest. That was some heart to heart discussions that you guys had. It was I could hear your heart, if that makes sense, with what you said. It was coming from a place of honesty and just raw, and look, this is what it is. What was the feedback from that?
There was 2 different types of feedback. There were feedback from people who know me. And the people that know me said the same type of things that you did. I can tell it was raw and honest. It was so brave of you to come out and say those things. Thank you so much for showing out and saying those. Hopefully what you said can help other people. And then there were people who didn't know me. And the one that based my entire life off of a 2-minute clip. And I had to stop reading the comments on those because after the first 3, I was in tears.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. Did you guys just really say that about me off of a 2-minute clip? And it was heartbreaking. And so I understand when you hear celebrities talk about that they don't read the comments, I know why. Because I absolutely know why. So I went back to reading the comments from my friends.
Yeah.
People that know me. Yeah.
Right.
Because
when I could imagine, people make their own, people are funny, but I know when I saw the clip, and being that I do know you, the thing that came to my mind was wow, and this must have been a while ago. Because I didn't know how long ago it was, but that's the first thing I said. I was like, wow, this must have been a while ago, so, and then I think I saw something you put, that it was 6 months ago. I was like, oh, okay. And the reason why I said that, because if I'm not mistaken, you are currently in a relationship.
Yes, I am. I am happy and in a relationship.
Yay.
That's the important part. I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because when you are walking in your purpose, when you're single and walking in your purpose, the man that's looking for you will find you in your purpose. So you have to fully show up as you in order to find that man that's looking for you. And that's what I did.
I love that.
After that recording, I worked really hard on me as a person. Now, I've been working on my business, but I hadn't worked on me. And so I worked on me and showed up with me and did a lot of inside work and got back to that person who was there before that previous relationship. And when I did that, he showed up out of nowhere and by surprise. Because when he started flirting with me, I was like, are you flirting with me? Like, wow. So it took me by surprise because I wasn't looking for anyone. I was just doing me.
Right. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What was his feelings? Did you guys talk about the show before it appeared? And what was his feelings on that?
We talked about it a little bit, but it's different from hearing me talk about it than him watching it. He was hurt watching it and apologized, not for himself, but apologized that I had to be hurt or that I was hurt like that. And,
wow.
Just apologizing on behalf of men, basically. Like, I'm so sorry for whatever happened before you met me.
Wow. Well, I guess he dropped the mic.
Yes.
Interesting.
Now, I'm not saying he's perfect because, we all have things.
Right.
But he is exactly what I need in my life right now. And one of the things that he said when he first met is like, oh, my gosh, I'm meeting someone I can Google. And I laughed. He's like, oh, my gosh, you're kind of famous. I'm like, no, don't worry about that.
So did he know, know you or know of you before, did he, know of you? You know what I'm saying? Like some people, because you are kind of famous.
Yeah, only thing he knew that I was a writer. That's all he knew. Because we met in a writer's meeting for a magazine. And so all he knew was Contessa was a writer. And one day he Googled me and like, oh, my goodness. And I talked a little bit about what I did, but really didn't go into a lot of detail. And once he figured out who I was, then we started having these conversations, about the things that I want to do and where the direction that I'm going in life and how he wants to support that and how he does support that every single day. He supports my vision. He supports my purpose. He's part of my team. And I never had someone before who was a part of my team. And that's when you know that you're in the right relationship. When they're a part of your team. And you don't even have to ask them to show up. They just show up.
Wow. I love that you said that because a while ago I remember seeing either it was a discussion or a debate or somebody posted something, I can't remember, about the person that they're with, their husband, boyfriend. I want to say it was like the person's husband loves them but doesn't support their purpose or their business. And that completely floored me because if you love me, and this is, the way I see it, if you love me and believe in me as a person, then you're supposed to be part of my team. You're supposed to, you don't have to be in the front. Lord knows I had my husband on the show last Tuesday, and there was discussions before and after, and I was like, never. We have to get him prepared for interview, And he is so behind, behind the scenes. Like, no, why you post? Like that's him. But he supports me 150%. Now I couldn't tell him, hey, I need you to set up some posts or do this or, no, he's not that person, but he is that team. He may not know 99.9% of the stuff I'm talking about, but he'll nod his head like he understands. That's support.
And that's all you need. Like, as a writer, I need for you to read my stuff. Like, you should know more about my book than anybody else. And I never had that. I was with someone who never read my stuff. I was with someone who never shared a Facebook post and then couldn't understand why I was upset. I'm like, that's just telling me you love me but not my kids. You can't love me and not love what I do every single day of my life. Something's wrong with that picture.
Did it surprise you, being that this was like the first time, you've had that type of, partner in your life? Was it like, wow, this is what those love songs are talking about? Was it like a wow or a aha moment?
It was. It was a wow moment. It was a aha moment. It was a, oh my gosh, I think I'm in a grown-up relationship. A real deal right here, and just to walk around with a smile on my face and know that I'm 100% supported is a wonderful feeling, and all because I was walking in my purpose. I wasn't, and not my purpose is because I did that self-work on the inside. I was a whole person by myself. So I don't need him. He just complements the woman that I am fully.
I love that. You guys, I hope you guys are taking notes.
Because some of us are looking for someone to complete us, something to add to us because we're not whole in ourselves. And so we come up against this other person who's broken too. And I don't know if you ever try to put the two broken pieces, but it's just not going to fit. There's some edges. There's some things that are cracked. It just doesn't quite fit. But if you have a whole person and a whole person, then you can have a whole relationship. And when things come up and problems come up, you guys know how to handle it because I'm whole, you're whole. We're not going to be fussing and fighting and carrying on in the street and acting crazy because we got some common sense and we whole people. So we're going to work our way through it.
Right.
Wow. And it's a wonderful feeling. But it starts with knowing your purpose and then being a whole person. So in order to date on purpose.
And that is like the nail on the head, which leads to my next question. Do you feel as a woman that your dating has to be more purposeful? Like you have to really date on purpose versus a man who may just, I don't know what men do, randomly date people. Maybe they're not thinking so much about their who they're dating. Because being that you were whole, you knew who you are, what you were about, where you were going. So did you feel like in your dating choice you had to be more purposeful in your decision?
I do. And also because I'm a giving and nurturing person. And so when I meet you, I'm automatically going to give of myself to you. And so if I'm giving to someone who's broken and not a whole person, then I'm trying to build you up. I'm trying to lift you up. I'm trying to teach you. I'm trying to mold you. I'm trying to do all that stuff, which now it's taking away from my purpose because I'm
Wow.
concentrating so much on you instead of what it is I'm supposed to be doing. But if you're dating a man who's already whole, you don't have to spend your time thinking, worrying about what he's doing, where he at, who he talking to. Is he looking for a job? Is he riding around with some other female in my car? You don't have to worry about those things when you're dating a man that's whole.
Do you see that a lot with the women that you coach or women that you know, that they get knocked off purpose because they're dating the wrong person?
Yes, they get knocked off purpose because they're dating the wrong purpose because they don't know themselves. And they haven't worked on themselves. They're just reaching for love. They're just reaching for companionship. They're just reaching for someone to help them. And you can't expect someone to help you. You've got to help you.
Wow.
No one can come and fix you. You have to do that work yourself.
Powerful answer.
And so that's
I
where
know.
the problem comes. Yeah. That's where you get stuck. That's where, there's a lot of women out there, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm stagnant. I'm in a horrible relationship. What can I do? You need to work on you. And women don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear, I got to work on myself. It's like, well, is there a book I can read? Yeah, but it's going to tell you to work on you. Is there a class I can take? Yes, it's going to tell you to work on you. No, you can't fix that broken man that you're with. That's not the answer. We can't fix him. We got to fix you. I keep attracting the same man. It's you. The answer is always you.
Y'all hear that? Take responsibility. And it's funny, I had a conversation with a lady the other day, like a couple of weeks ago, and she, this was supposed to be a business conversation, but she knew, who I was, what I did, so on and so forth. So she asked me some questions, basically very similar to what you just said about, I'm in this place, that place, but I have this man that treats me X, Y, and Z, and I need to fix him, and so on and so forth. It's not about him, because when you love you, and like you said, when you know you, it's certain things you're not going to tolerate, and you can't change people. You can't change people. Like Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. They're not going to be a different person in a year or 2 years, and you sitting there 2 years depressed and delaying your purpose because you, want companionship. You know?
And it happens so often. It happens so often, and now you're not taking that class that you want because you're helping him with his class, and you're not, investing in your business because he's not working, and so now you got to pay all the bills, or you got to go bail him out of jail, or whatever it is that you're doing, and farther and further and further away from your purpose. Or you need to go travel over here, and he's like, nah, baby, won't you just come spend the weekend with me? You don't need to go over there and talk. You don't even like them know how. He's messing with your purpose.
Love that uncut.
And we laugh, but it happens all the time. And you know that man's no good for you, but you refuse to leave him because you don't want to be alone. But it's in that alone time is when you find you. So we need to embrace that alone.
I love that. Embrace that alone, guys. Write that down. So I want to ask you, I know you have adult children, and one has autism. Is that correct?
That is correct. The oldest, yes.
The oldest. So how did that, past and presently, or did it have an effect on your dating life?
It did, but So I had my son when I was very young, and he was probably about 2 years old, and my dating on purpose looked like this. I have a child that has special needs. He's going to need a lot of medical attention. I need to date someone with benefits. And so I did. I married someone in the military. Did it work out for the best? No. So that was me trying to look out for my son and trying to get the best that I could for him. The marriage didn't last very long. It did not, because that was the wrong – my heart was in a good place, but that's not – you can't – it's difficult to build a relationship on what I would call a business proposition. I'm a very you're going to take care of the benefits. That's what it is. And so, young and not knowing any better, that's what I did. But afterwards, dating was difficult, and I didn't have a lot of people around my children. I just didn't. But I was working a lot, so I really didn't miss dating per se. And then once my kids got older, then there was no problem with dating. You know, and a lot of people didn't get to meet my children. I had to make sure that everything was okay with you before you came anywhere near my kids, and most of them didn't make the cut. I was like, nope, you will never meet them.
Right. You just were right. You know, there's no purpose to this, so there's no point in you meeting the kids. People need to understand that some people are for some people are to bring home, and others are to bring just to eat, to the movies, something like those two. You can't bring everybody home, and you can't bring everybody on the first date to meet your kids. Don't do that to your children. Don't. Make sure they're going to be around. Make sure that they're in line with your purpose before you introduce your kids for them, because your kids don't like having people torn in and out of their life. They don't like that. Don't do that to them. Right.
Especially if you have one that understands differently. So my son understands differently than my daughter does, so I have to protect him. So I can't have everybody around my child. I just can't.
Right.
And this relationship is it's a grown up relationship, and we've been together, for a while now, and he's met my children and they like him, and he understands autism and has an interest in what it is that I do and reads up on it and asks me questions, and it's really good. This is good, For someone to ask, it's like, oh, yeah, I was reading about autism, and what do you think about this? And I didn't have that before.
Right.
That didn't happen. It's like, oh, you really have an interest. Not only do you have an interest in, and he doesn't have to have interest in my children. They're adult children. But he does.
But I think that shows, and that shows his intent for you guys. That kind of goes back to what you said earlier about, part of your team is not just Contessa, the powerful author, social media, famous person, everything else. That's you as a person and all those makeups of you.
Yes, and he wants to know every part of it. And I was like, oh, and it makes me all blushy and all girly. Which a lot of people don't get to see because they know Contessa's a business person. I'm like, nah, I'm kind of soft and mushy too.
Yes. So, what part? Because I know you are in a different place from the TD Jakes and that in the last relationship. You're in a different place. Like you said, you're in an adult relationship. So that brings me into cuffing season.
I laugh every time. Cuffing season came about from a short story contest. I led a couple people. There was about 40 of us. We were just going to write a short story on some random Saturday, and I started writing about this cuffing season. And
Mm-hmm.
for those of you who don't know what cuffing season is, it's a period right when it starts to get cold. And single people don't want to be by themselves and cold. And so they want to cuff up or get connected to someone so they're not cold during the winter time. And then that person usually goes away right around spring. It's like, thank you so much for keeping me warm. Goodbye.
Warm.
That's the basis of this story. It's, these individuals that are trying to find someone to spend the winter with. Some of them get into a relationship and it only lasts for that season. Some of them get into a relationship and they decide, you know what? I think I like this and I want this to last just a little bit longer. And so that's the basis for cuffing season. And I have had the most fun writing this story because it's a silly concept, but it's a real concept. This happens in college campuses, most of college all over the United States. Cuffing season.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's a true thing. Now, when I think about cuffing season, I kind of think about sometimes the need that people have as they get older to become a wife or a husband. So
yeah.
I'm glad you kind of, and like I guess it's like a lot of different meanings for either way it go. Cuffing season is sometimes don't start with the right purpose.
Right. The purpose is I don't want to be alone. That's the basis for cuffing season.
Right.
I don't want to be alone. I want someone here either to keep me warm, to keep me company, whatever it is. I don't want to be by myself. And sometimes
feed me tapioca as I age.
Yes, it does. Because it's like I don't want to be old by myself. And so you have to be careful with that cuffing season mentality because you could end up being cuffed up with someone that's not any good for you. And the next thing you know, 3 years, 4 years went past, and you're like, why am I still here? I should have left this a long time ago. This should have only lasted for one season. But we get comfortable even in our mess. We get comfortable in our mess and don't want to change. It's like, well, we've been together for, 6 months. Maybe something different will happen. And another year go by and another year go by, and they still the same person, and you still complaining about the same stuff you've been complaining about since, week 3. Nothing has changed because all you wanted was a warm body, and that's what you got, just a warm body.
Sometimes cuffing season end up being lifetime, so you guys got to watch who you cuff. who you cuff.
Exactly.
Now,
don't be cuffing that desperation.
Right. Correct. Say that one more time. Do not be cuffing out of desperation.
Out of desperation. Don't do it. Now, after dark is cuffing season, but the more uncut version of cuffing season. So it's the cuffing season that you don't want your mama to read about. That's what After Dark is. And I'll put it like that.
Look, understood. Do you think that what was that defining moment that you decided to start writing about quote unquote relationships? Or have you always thought about relationships, or is this new?
It's new for me. It's completely new. So I first started writing about my life and things that were going on. So it's more autobiography, more memoir type stuff. And then one day, one of my friends was like, you're writing about the wrong stuff. And I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, you should write different things. You should write more fiction and stop writing nonfiction. And so I challenged myself to do that. And I was like, oh, wow, look, this is fun. I'm actually enjoying writing about relationships because clearly I know a lot about it. And hopefully this helps people successful, but in a different way. There are things that you can put into that book that are still life lessons, but they're easier to digest because it's written in this fun little book that you have. And then once you write the book, then you can come up with these classes and courses and things like that in order to support some of those things that are in a book. So it's just teaching in a different way.
I love that. I love that. And it shows where you are now. If you look at like you said earlier about being prepped and primed, you were primed, prepared, and all other PR words to do this. You couldn't, and you're having fun, and I could hear in your voice, and I could just, that you are enjoying where you are. And it's not just, like you said earlier, you're in a happy relationship. How much?
Yes.
No, go ahead.
And being happy, and I don't even want to say happy. I want to say joy. I have this joy that nothing can shake. Because there's a lot of things that come up. Again, my life isn't perfect. There are things that come up that I worry about and concerned about, and I have health issues and all that. But nothing can shake this joy that I have inside of me. Every day I have joy. And that's something that I hadn't had in a long time. I had missed that part of me. That joyful Contessa had been gone for years, but she is here. And boy, oh boy, are y'all in trouble.
I loved it, and we're winding down to like 8 minutes left. That I tell people that hour goes by so fast. But I wanted to ask, what 3 tips can you, and you've dropped so many nuggets and tips throughout today's show, but what 3 tips would you give someone, male or female, living their purpose but still wanting to date?
The first thing I would say is know you. You absolutely need to know who you are before you start dating. The second thing is to know exactly what you want. And when I say what you want, I'm not talking about surface. I don't care how they look. I don't care how they sound. I don't care what town they're from. All of that is superficial. What do you want? Do you want someone that's going to love your children? Do you want someone that you can have children with? Do you want someone that can support your business and your dreams? Do you want someone that can travel with you wherever it is that you need to be? What is it that you want?
Wow.
Because what you want, all that other stuff is just a distraction. It's going to come at you, and you're going to be like, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. I don't care how pretty you are. I don't care how you talk to me. You are not it. And the third is communication. Communication. You have to communicate with that person. You need to let them know beyond a shadow of a doubt what your boundaries are. And that way they don't cross them. Because if I tell you lying to me is a no-go, you know that as soon as you open up your mouth to lie to me, I'm out. Because I set that up as a boundary. You cannot lie to me. Absolutely. There are certain things that you cannot do, and I'm not going to accept. So once you set those boundaries, don't let them cross that line, because if you keep doing it, they're going to keep crossing that line. So those are the 3 that I would say about dating on purpose.
I love that. And it has been a powerful hour, and I'm sure the listeners live and the listeners online and just everybody needs and wants to be connected with you. So how can they get more information about you and connect with you and definitely find out more about cuffing season and after dark and all things Tessa, what is the best way? How can they connect with you?
I'm so easy to connect with. I am Contessa Louise all over social media. So you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Contessa Louise. I have a website, contessalouise.com, where you can get information. And I also, just for the listeners here, I do this, what I call Chat with Tessa. And so as I was talking and you're saying, you know what, I'm feeling kind of stuck. I don't know how to walk in my purpose. I think I'm in a bad relationship. I don't know what to do. I do these 15-minute chats where we just sit down and we talk. And I can, give you a little bit of advice, try to get you unstuck. And if you decide, yeah, Contessa, I want to do more, you can. And it's bit.ly/Tessa Define You. See what I did there?
I love that.
I know, right? Tessa Define You. And it takes you right to my calendar.
It's letter
yes,
U or
the letter
Y-O-U.
U.
Yay.
The letter U. And I was like, oh, this is so cute. It takes you right to my calendar. You can schedule the chat down, and we'll have a talk. Because sometimes you just need that girlfriend to just listen and to talk that's not going to judge you and give you an open, honest answer. And that girlfriend is Tessa.
Yes, she is definitely that girlfriend. And guys, if you're listening online, that Contessa's information will be posted on the show notes, and I will also make sure it's posted on the Define You Radio's page on Facebook. With that being said, Contessa, it has been a truly wonderful, powerful, exciting, nugget-dropping, mic-dropping show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for spending your Tuesday defining it with us. And I look forward to definitely having you on again. Guys, make sure you connect with Tessa. She is awesome. And you guys know I don't throw that word around. So take my word for it. She is awesome. With that being said, guys, this week's quote: the best love is the one that makes you a better person without changing you into someone other than yourself. That comes from Unknown. Pens and papers down, guys. Class is officially over. To connect with me and the show, please visit www.valenciagwallace.com. And remember, only you can define you. Have a great week. See you next week, same time, same place. Class is over.
Hurry! Our last-minute gift sale at Lord & Taylor is going on now. Sweaters for her and him starting at $30. Up to 70% off fine jewelry. 50% off women's gloves, scarves, and more. Buy one, get one free on Holiday Gourmet. Stocking stuffers under $50. Plus more amazing presents. You can even buy online and pick up in store. It's all part of the last-minute gift sale now through December 24th at Lord & Taylor, the best priced secret. Hurry! Our last-minute gift sale at Lord & Taylor is going on now. Sweaters for her and him starting at $30. Up to 70% off fine jewelry. 50% off women's gloves, scarves, and more. Buy one, get one free on Holiday Gourmet. Stocking stuffers under $50. Plus more amazing presents. You can even buy online and pick up in store. It's all part of the last-minute gift sale now through December 24th at Lord & Taylor, the best priced secret.